This tutorial will explain how to rescue raw footage when the audio is out of sync with the video. I'll cover when this might occur and how to make it right. First, disclosures. I have no affiliation with MotionCam or its developers. I am just a fan of this app. Secondly, the problem applies only to people who choose to use the raw cinema DNG files to edit their video. It is not an issue if you're going to use the MotionCam Android app to export your videos to MP4 because the MotionCam Android app adjusts itself automatically. Since Martin Cooper released the first prototype mobile phone in 1973, developers have steadily been adding new capabilities and features. The Google Pixel 7 Pro that I used in this video is already 2.5 years old, but has 3 different camera sensors with 3 different hardware capabilities and different lenses. To be clear, the problem of audio not syncing with video is a hardware problem, and it depends on your personal mobile device that you are using. It may happen all of the time with a given camera lens, or frame rate, or only some of the time, or only when the video gods have deemed it so. And while the main sensor is usually the most capable, there might be times when I want to use a wide-angle lens or a telephoto lens instead. Take this example. I want to shoot a close-up of my subject from 15 feet away. I can't put my phone up in his face while he's playing, and artistically, I want the more shallow depth of field that the telephoto lens provides. My project is 24 frames per second. I adjust the shutter angle to 180 degrees and my ISO to get a nice histogram distribution without clipping my highlights. I record my shot and I can export it to a high-quality, high bitrate MP4 in either standard dynamic range or in HDR as in this case. The Android app makes short work of exporting the file and we're done. Looks great, no problems. But the reason I prefer to edit with the Cinema DNG RAW video instead of 10-bit 420 MP4 file is I feel like I can get a much nicer 4K image than any 2.5-year-old mobile device has any right to provide, as we're just about to see. So I drop my Cinema DNG sequence into my timeline, I do a quick contrast adjustment, and add some noise reduction because RAW video always needs noise reduction. Let's take a look at the full screen monitor. And that's not good. We'll check one other spot, and the audio is still not syncing up with the movement of the musician. So what's going on here? We navigate to the Media tab, and our DNG video says 24 frames per second. Let's right-click, open the containing folder, and then drag the audio.wav file into our media. Here, our audio.wav file says 23.528 frames per second, not 24. In this tutorial, I'm obviously using Davinci Resolve, but any tool that shows the EXIF data will give you the same information. Here's another example using the Windows command prompt. Same audio frame rate. Hey, remember that time I chose to use 24 frames per second, even though my Google Pixel 7 Pro reported to MotionCam that it was not a supported frame rate? Yeah, me neither. I was so busy getting my exposure dialed in, I didn't even notice the bottom of the MotionCam app showed the frames per second as 23.53, not 24. But I'm here to tell you now, do not trash that footage in anger, because there's an easy fix. We're going to make the video play at the same frame rate that the audio is playing. Just right-click and unlink the video track from the audio track, select the video track only, and right-click again and select Change Clip Speed. Type in the 23.528 frames per second that we got from the EXIF data, and hit Enter. And with that little fix, we'll zoom in one more time and take a look. And just like that, we have some high-quality 4K close-up footage shot from 15 feet away using a 2.5-year-old mobile device. Remember, you're more likely to encounter this if you're using an unsupported frame rate and if you're using one of the camera sensors that's not the main sensor on your device. And you may be more likely to have frame rate issues if your device is overheating, like my Pixel 7 Pro loves to do whenever I ask it to do any task of any kind. But as we have seen, with a quick fix, that footage is still absolutely usable.